same kind of techniques. We can inspire by these techniques in order to do our solutions. That is why importance of learning these type of how Linux solve these problems, how Docker solve these problems, because these are tested and proven for years, right? So now, what is the life cycle of this file? Okay, so follow me, right? Follow me. So let's see what happened to these files. So now you run a Docker, right? At the beginning of the Docker, you have read-only layers, right? So now what you do is you do Docker run. Now this create a container, right? Container. So when they create the container, we add the writable layer. Okay? We are so far good. Now what you do is you create a file, test.txt, right? So when the test.txt created, what happens is it adding a file test.txt is created where? On the upper directory or else a right layer, right? And now you modify a file, right? So you modify a file. Now what happened? Now what happened? It take a copy and put into the right layer. Now these files are there. Now you stop the Docker, right? Now you stop the Docker. Okay? So when you stop the Docker, there was a question asked, what is the difference between stop and removing? When you stop the Docker, when you run the Docker, what happened? We learned the last session, when you run the Docker, it creates the PID 1, right? But that PID is other process ID for the host. We are going to discuss the kernel scheduling in a while, right? If the time permits today. When the kernel scheduling, you can understand it's other process to the kernel. But PID 1 to the Docker for that particular namespace. Now when you stop it, you kill the process. So if you get the host perspective, host doesn't have a process running now anymore. But this right layer is remaining. Where? In that path, here and right? That is there. Out directory is there. Okay? Upper directory is there. So now what you do is you start the Docker again. Now what it does is it create a new process. Still is a PID 1 for the Docker. It's mount these path to the path we discuss here. Because container ID is there, right? And then you're mounting, right? Upper dir, lower dir and merge and the right to the designated paths. Okay? So now new Docker, newly started Docker will still see these two files. Got it? Understand? Now you stop the Docker again. Now we kill the process. Now what you do is you do Docker remove. The moment you give this command, this layer is deleted. So the layer, the file from our file system will be deleted. Okay? Now you run the Docker again. Now you get fresh right layer. So you will not see these two modifications. There? Right? So there is a life cycle. There is a difference being stop and the remove. If you stop, all the changes you created on the file system still remain on the file system. Right? If you start, you mounting. So we learn the path, right? So what are the paths here? The the overlay container ID, then what are the paths? Diff and merge and work, right? So those directories will mount into this file system, right? But when you delete it, so whatever in the diff will be removed, right? When you start again, you get the new one. Gotcha? Now we go to Kahliya problem, right? So why we have to do this drama? Okay, so why we have to do this drama? Here's a situation. Okay, so that question is a result of missing the first session. Okay, whole purpose of a Docker, you create a template, right? You create a template and you run this multiple times, right? You create a template, you run this one multiple times. Correct? That's the whole idea, whole purpose of a Docker. Now the whole purpose, there's a one purpose of a Docker, right? You have a template and you run multiple times. So it doesn't matter you run the QA or a UAT or a dev or a wherever, it's supposed to run as it is, right? No one can say, it's work on the QA, it doesn't work on the UAT just because of some files are missing one. Nothing like happened because it stays there. Now, let's say Docker size is 300 MB. Okay. Now, if you get one of our process services which run on the Optimus, there are 100 instances are running. Okay. So now you need to multiply this by the 100 and give this space on the host in order to work. Okay. In order to work, it has to give this much of space. Right. To avoid this, what the Docker does is, when you run a container, the lower file system being shared across all the containers which run on the same node. That's very important. Node means the host. Okay? The same, I'll tell you why I say so. It's important. If there are 100 containers running from the same Docker image, from a same host, then the lower file system, lower dir will be same, pointed to the same location of the host. But each container will get separate write layer. Each container will get separate write layer. Now you need to understand, when you modify, why we copy this file. Right? Because 9 of you share the same file, now she want to modify it. Right? She modified the file and said Dahami. Now you will see in your file Dahami. I'm not Dahami. Right? That is why she want to modify, take the file, put into her write layer and modify. Okay? So now you can take the same file and put into your write layer and say Harish. So now same file, 2 copies stays on each one's write layer. Now see the benefit. You are running 100 containers with just 300 megabytes. Okay. Now, why this is important to understand, in the Kubernetes type of environment, we are going to learn the Kubernetes, but in a Kubernetes type of environment, this 100 may be divided into 3 different nodes. Okay, node mean a host, right? So 100, this run 50, this run 30, this run 20. Now don't think all they are pointing to the same file system. Okay, Krish says, okay, when the Docker run, it doesn't copy. No, what happens, it still is valid, but you are missing a one point. When you run like this, there are 3 pulls from the ECR or a container registry. Okay, There are 3 pools, image pool 3 times for each layer. We are going to learn when we go the Kubernetes. Now what happens is, this has a separate this file system here, and these containers point into this, these containers point to this, these containers will point to this. Okay? This is called multi-container efficiency. That is where you point into the same. That is why when you need to copy, when you modify to, because other people are sharing your path. That is why even your Dockers are stopped, you still see this file path because those files are shared. Keep in mind, for this particular Docker, there is other situation. So now you create some files. Let's say you got the Docker, and then you install certain packages. For example, you want to communicate, you want ping. To the ping, you need the network util packages to install, right? Now you want to keep this. I don't want to do this damn thing every time. I want to keep this. So you can commit, right? Now a lot of people think when you commit, what happens is this write layer will go with you. No, what it does is it convert this write layer, not the converting actually, it take whatever in the diff directory and create other read only layer, right? It take this whatever in the diff and create other read only layer. So now it's a new image. Okay, so when you take it to the run again, yeah, the changes will be there. There's an illusion you to feel like I can save the Docker. No, you cannot. Right? Fundamental didn't change. You cannot save the Docker. What happens is you took your write layer, the diff layer, and converted into another Docker. So now you have the different Docker. Okay, not the previous one. So keep in mind the Docker. This what we explain is the overlay file system. Okay, so Docker use historically certain thing like AUFS, device mapper, CFS, and like other file systems, right? So if you go and explore certain things, if it is a file system is not overlay, then you won't see. That's why I mentioned this one. You won't say this is structure, or you won't say it works like this, right? So I explained this overlay 2, which is the current one, because it's a native for the Linux kernel. So that is the way most commonly used, right? If you go in, it's a different file system, it works differently, right? So after this, we need to discuss the niceness, complete fair scheduling, and those type of thing, which is the how. Now this file system is there. Now when you run different processes, how host deal with the container, the running container. So there is something called unified memory mapping, where when you run a multi-core situation, multi-CPU situation, how exactly, because when you have a multiple CPU, because for you says, okay, it's a this much of CPUs and this much of memory. But actually happens is it creates a separate groups. This CPU with this much of memory and so and so. So if you're trying to access this from this process from this CPU, it becomes slow. There are so many things called the niceness scheduling and so many things, which is kind of a different chapter. We don't have a time to cover it today, so that will be the next one. So make sure not to miss it. If you miss it, you miss it. You miss yourself. Okay? We'll catch you another day.